Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, or Tiger Tank 12, however you want to call me. I don't really care. And today we're just gonna take a very slight look at the T28 concept, since I have been thinking about making some videos of the reward tanks that you can actually get by completing missions. You should definitely complete missions because they get you free credits, and some of them are very easy to do. And you just do them by playing the game, and you should definitely take part in them because you get, first of all, credits, or if you complete an entire branch of missions, like for example right here, started, or I have to check real fast, claim reward, nope, all. If you have done all missions for medium tanks right here, like I did, you get like a crew member, and this crew member has a lot of skills, and it's actually a female crew member, and if you get all 4 of them, you can put him in a tank and get like a sisterhood or something like that, like the equivalent of brothers in arms, and that is actually right here. Unfortunately, yeah, Sisterhood of Steel, exactly. Unfortunately, I only have one crew member here who's a woman. But now if we check in, oh, I completely forgot where I put all the women. I have to I have to check. I put them somewhere in one of the vehicles that I play quite often, actually, but I have no clue where they are. So whatever. We're going back now. The missions, they just give you like a lot of credits and other rewards, like premium fire extinguisher or something like that. And eventually, if you have finished like 75 missions, doesn't matter if you do like if you finish 4 times the medium branch, like the medium missions, the heavy missions, the tank destroyer missions, or the artillery mission. There's always one branch that you can actually ignore. Like if you don't really like to play artillery, you just do not have to play the artillery missions. I always did it like this, that I actually ignored the light tank missions. I'm not sure if it's a light tank. No, actually I've ignored the artillery missions. No, I have not. Okay, I've done all the missions on the first operation, but on the second operation I've kind of ignored like the artillery missions, exactly, because I do not enjoy playing artillery that much. So if you finish the first mission, you get the Stug 4. Now this is a tier 5 vehicle, and it's like the Stuck, and nothing special to it. It's a fun little tank. I mean, it's nice to get a free tank. I never say no to a free tank, and it's about 400,000 credits worth. Like, it's a normal tier 5 vehicle. If you do not have a Stug, I mean, it's a free garage slot that you get and the free tank, so I would never say no to that. The second vehicle, now after you finish the first mission, you have access, or you gain access to the second mission, and that is the Operation T28 Heavy Tank Concept. And as it already says, it is a tier 7 American tank destroyer, and it's a T28 Concept. Now you guys probably remember the T28, hell of a tank, slow as, very slow, let's say it like this, very slow, and it leads up to the T95 and eventually to the T110E3, which I own right here. Beautiful vehicle, love this tank. I do not seem to get along with the E4, but with the E3 I do not have any problems. Now this vehicle, what can I say? It is a turretless tank destroyer. Actually, it does have, it's not a turret, but it does have a very, very wide gun arc, and it looks very weird. The first impression is it's a bunker that looks well armored, but it looks weird at the same time. Now if we take a look at, since they changed this completely, and I'm not getting, no, we're taking a look at the statistics. It's the wrong thing, the details. I'm not really getting along with these new additions right there. There's too much information for me. So we have the T28 Concept. Now, it was developed in 1943, but it was never really put into action, or I'm not sure. I think they never built it, but they built the T95 eventually, and I think they used this vehicle as a concept. So we have to take a look. First of all, we're gonna take a look at the. Well, it's even worse. Okay, we're gonna take a look at the survivability. The hit points, you have 880 hit points on this vehicle. Now that is standard for tier 7. You have 203 millimeters of frontal armor. That includes this lower plate, everything here, and in the back these machine gun turrets, which are actually a weak spot on this vehicle. Now obviously if you're shooting at this tank, you'll be shooting at the lower plate. You'll be shooting at the machine guns in the back and here, and you can actually shoot at the gun mantler right here. Actually, if this tank, now this is the weird part. If you kind of turn your turret to the other side, like if you aim to the right or to the left and you just use your gun arc, they can actually penetrate your side gun arc right here, like this, the side armor of your gun mantlet. And it's kind of weird. It is like a turret. Like the frontal part of the turret is well armored, the side part is not very well armored. It's kind of weird, and I've been very surprised when I was penetrated in the side right there. But I mean, that's just how it works. You have 101 millimeters of armor on the side. Of course, the tracks are spaced armor or additional armor, as World of Tanks says. So if you actually shoot the tracks, there is a possibility that you just bounce or do 0 damage. But if you shoot any side or anywhere here on the side, you have a nice profile, 90-degree angle here, very flat surfaces. You'll most of the time be able to go through this side armor. Now, the rear armor, 50 millimeters, we don't have to talk about that. It's very, very small or very bad armor. Even high explosive rounds can go through the back, so do not get flanked. To be honest, I've seen tier 7 vehicles, and since you'll be going up against tier 9 or tier 8 vehicles as well, I've seen tier 7 vehicles that were able to penetrate your lower plate, and when they weren't able to penetrate your lower plate, they just kind of engaged your turrets on the side, and that was kind of, yeah, kind of shitty for the driver of this vehicle, aka for me, because just sucks. It only has 880 HP, and the armor does not really hold up for that, for the close range engagements, because you just do have too many weak spots. Now for long range engagements, now we can actually take a look at the firepower. We have a 105mm gun, which is only, especially just for this vehicle. It's a tier 7 gun, a rate of fire 6 rounds per minute. Average penetration of 181mm, I think that's the same as the T29, and with APCR you have 224mm of pen. Now the damage model is like that of, I think, every other 105mm gun that tier 9s and tier 10s do not use. Like for example, I have to see right now, I think it's the same as on the T32. 320, yeah, 320 millimeters, no, 320 worth of HP damage, oh my god. The gun dispersion at 100 meters is 0.4, it's not too great. The aim time is actually, in my opinion, good at tier 7 with 2.3 seconds, and the weight is not really that important. Now if we take a look at the extra statistics right here, you can do about 240 to 400 damage. Most of the time you'll be running in the 300 area, maybe low 300 damage area. Standard shell penetration, as we have already seen, is up to 226. Rate of fire 6.26 because of my crew. Reload time actual reload time is 9.6 seconds. Now I do not have the best crew on this vehicle, since I just kind of put like very standard crewmen into this tank. I could easily just, you know, actually I completely forgot that. We're just gonna drop all of this E4 crew, and we're just gonna take the E4 crew and put it right in here, so we can see the difference a good crew can make on a vehicle. And yeah, it's still 1.6 seconds, but at least we have a good crew. Then we have the gun traverse speed is 18.77 seconds per degree, and that is pretty much your gun arc. Your gun arc, like the gun depression, is not that great, with -4 degrees downwards and 14 degrees elevation angle, like upwards. Gun traverse is like 29 degrees up front, like you can turn your turret all the way over here, I think. Aim time 2.2 seconds, and the average damage per minute is 2003. Now if we take a look at the mobility, now this tank is obviously not a light vehicle, 73 tons maximum. We have 70 tons actually right now. The engine power is 960 horsepower on this particular engine. It is actually a tier 10 engine, which is quite sick. The top speed on this vehicle is 29 kilometers per hour. Now this is going downhill, and reverse speed is 10 kilometers per hour. So backing up will be a pain in the ass. And the traverse speed is only 20 degrees like per second, and that is really, really bad. Like for a tank destroyer, for any turretless tank destroyer, 20 degrees, that is, I mean, if you look at the E3 has 28 degrees, but at least the T28 Concept has this big gun arc, so you can still kind of compensate a little bit. Now concealment, it's not that great of a concealment tank, like spawning is okay. But I think that wraps up all the statistics of this vehicle. Now I've been rambling on for quite a long time now. Let's jump into a battle and see how this thing performs. So I'm just gonna try to play this game and live commentate over it, because why not try something new once in a while. And we're playing on Himmelsdorf. That is pretty much the good news. The bad news is that we're on the lowest, like the bottom of the entire team. But unfortunately, unfortunately for us, there's no artillery. Now, since we are a tier 7 vehicle, our armor, which is in tier 7, tier 6, and tier 8 battles, actually a pro for us, is now pretty much non-existent. All these tanks here can easily penetrate our armor, so we are gonna have a very tough battle here. And actually, if I was top tier or in the middle, I would have went to the tank alley. But since we do not have enough tanks on the right side, I'm gonna try to engage or support my team as long as I can on this side, since we will probably not be able to reroute and find a new position to engage the enemy, since we're kind of slow. Right now I'm actually pushing, since there's nothing on this side up until now. Maybe we can get some good shots up onto the to the hill. And actually we have the very first contestant, and that was a terrible shot. But you can see the reload time is actually a little bit underwhelming right now. But since this is a tier 7 vehicle with a 105mm gun, we cannot expect a rate of fire that is equivalent to the tier 9 or tier 10 vehicles. Unfortunately right now, the gun handling has not been on our side, as well as RNG, and we were not able to penetrate any shot or do any damage up until now, with that many targets being lit. But, you know, never say never. Unfortunately for us, second shot, no pen. Or third shot, for that matter, that was no pen. You can just see that 181 millimeters of penetration usually is enough for tier 8 medium tanks, but somehow we're just not faring too well, even with AP rounds. Finally, we get a penetrating shot with 341 damage, but our M103 is getting hammered from the side and from the front. That was terrible. Bad shot by me. Like really bad shots from my side. We have to kill that AMX right now. We're actually able to take him out, and we're able to push on. Now there was some terrible marksmanship right here, but usually this tank does behave a little bit better in long-range engagements, but unfortunately we were not as lucky. RNG is, you know, sometimes it's on your side, sometimes it's not. So it's just something we have to get used to. So there we have a E75. I hope he's not gonna... he's turned his back towards us. Now if this M41 Bulldog would back up a little bit, I could take a pop shot at him. And we actually shot his side turret, so yeah, that was a bad shot. Now I'm kind of confused by the accuracy of this vehicle currently. There is an AMX 30 coming around this corner, so I'm gonna try to get this Waffenträger to follow me. Maybe we can engage him since he's low HP. And you can see he just penetrated our lower plate easily as that. Now with this vehicle now, he cannot one-shot us since he cannot roll that high. But since we have this little advantage of our gun, that's of our, what do you call it? Of our gun arc, we're actually able to shoot a little bit around the corner right there, and it actually worked. He bounced off our upper plate, since that was a very badly placed shot, unfortunately for him, and we were able to take him out. Now luckily for us, right there was a penetrating shot, and we're gonna load a high explosive round for the RHM Borsig, which is gonna be around this corner, and I hope we can get him, or at least one more shot off. 1400 damage at tier. Yeah, we got a shot off and we killed the RHM with a high explosive shot, and we're able to do at least 1928 damage in a tier 9 game. But luckily for us, they were not really focused on us anytime during the entire combat. Now, just to detail or highlight the abilities and the capabilities of this vehicle, you saw that the lower plate at tier 9, that guy has at least 150 millimeters of pen, 250 millimeters of pen. They were easily able to penetrate our lower plate. The gun at long range, it is okay, but we should have been able to do much more damage. We should have ended this game with at least 3000 damage, in my opinion, since we had like that many targets and that long of a time to fire at them. But unfortunately, the long reload time, the bad RNG and the bad accuracy right there made it completely like a waste of time there, except for these two shots on the AMX CDC. And unfortunately, you saw that the pen of 181 on tier 8 vehicles, like for example on that T44, was not actually enough to penetrate it, or even the side turret of the E75. Now we're gonna try another game. So the second match in this T28 prototype. We're playing in a city map with no artillery as well. Today the RNG or the matchmaking gods are definitely on our side. And we're actually playing against same tiered opponents. That means we're going to be high tier. We're going to be the highest tier in the game. And since we are kind of a rolling bunker, we will try to take the fight to them. Now we're playing on Pilsen. This is a destroyed tank factory in the Czechoslovakia or the ex-Czechoslovakia, the ex-Czech Republic, and we're gonna try to keep them all at one spot right here. Now, yeah, nice, right there. You can see we just penetrated the T-34. Unfortunately, my team, the heavy tanks, kind of go to the wrong corner of the map, since we do need some heavy tanks to push into the city. Now, I'm not sure, maybe the enemy team has done the same, but if I'm not careful enough, if we do not have enough support, we will get into a big ambush. But to be honest, that's exactly what I want to try to show you guys, the full capabilities of this vehicle and its armor at the same tier, just to show you how well this vehicle can go up against such small little tanks. I think this is a tank that is perfect for its niche. It's like a niche tank. It has its habitat where it feels safe, where it feels great, and where it can do a lot of damage. But once it's outside of that habitat, like faces artillery, or it faces a certain amount of tier 8s or tier 9 vehicles, it just gets very, very tough for it, because obviously it is too slow and the armor does not hold up at such high tiers. Now, as you can see right here, we just actually flanked all these guys, and we're being shot by a toaster. But you can see with the amount of damage that we're putting into the toaster right here, there is no problem taking care of him. But as you can see right here, the toaster knew exactly where the weak spots of this tank are, and since there's a lot of World of Tanks coverage online, everybody knows that these cupolas are a weak spot to this vehicle. And this gentleman will probably know it as well, but he does not have to shoot me in the... Oh, goddammit. Unfortunately, our track traverse speed right now is not that great, and we took very unnecessary damage. We should have actually kept the distance to him. And there you see a very, very stupid misplay by me in this vehicle. And we're gonna see if we can secure, I don't know, Top Gun on this vehicle. But since we're kind of slow, we'll probably not be able to take care of the rest. But yeah, as you could see, the armament in such close quarter combat with same tier or lower tier opponents allows you to easily take care of them without having to fear that you will not penetrate them, since you do have a very high amount of pen for this tier, and you do quite a lot of damage with a 105mm gun. Oh, actually, we just finished a mission as well. I have no idea what kind of mission it was. Destroy it, blah blah blah, no damage to your vehicle. Oh, it's nice. So yeah, that's why you should do the mission, since you get like all these things right there. But now to the final verdict. Now, this is a free tank. If you're doing the missions, you'll get this tank. If you really want to get another vehicle that is similar to the T95 or the T28 with very well known or very noticeable weak spots. This is a tank you should definitely get. Like, if you enjoyed the T28, if you enjoyed the American tank destroyer line with the armor and the gun, where you're able at the same tier at least to push them front on, like head on, and you know, just have a heavy tank with a nice gun in certain situations. I think this is definitely a tank you should try to get. I mean, either way, you're gonna do the missions. So if you get this tank, you'll not be that disappointed. It is not the tank I hoped it was going to be. I thought it was gonna be stronger. I desperately wish that the weak spots right here would maybe get a little bit buffed, so it's maybe a little bit better armored, since they can still penetrate your lower plate or just go around you, since I think that is how it was meant to be played. But as you saw at tier 7, at tier 6, this vehicle with its gun is just, if the guys do not know the weak spot, it is a fearful opponent, and you can do quite a lot of damage. But if you really hate this kind of gameplay, a slow, sluggish tank destroyer like the T95, the T28, you do not like this squishy parts right here, like if you expect the real armor and the gun is not like the top class at that tier, not like the Jag Panther's 105mm gun, then you can easily sell this tank. Since right now, the question is just, do you want to keep the vehicle or do you want to sell it, since you have literally lost nothing by gaining it through the missions. So that's pretty much my final verdict. I enjoy the vehicle. I think it's cool to drive a little mini T95 around at tier 7 and tier 6 and maybe tier 8 and 9 as well. Obviously it's a lot more fun in tier 7 and tier 6. But like if you get into tier 9, bells, tier 8, I mean, there are certain situations where you can do damage, but otherwise do not expect too much of this vehicle, since it will just not hold up at that tier. But for a free tank, I mean for a mission reward tank, I'm not too disappointed. Now, I know a lot of people expect for the mission reward tank great tanks like the Object 260 or the T55. Like these tanks are definitely the tanks that people are striving to get, but I'm not disappointed with this vehicle at all. So I think it's a funny free tank if you get all the missions done. If you would have to pay for this vehicle, if it was a premium vehicle, I would never get it, because just not, its pros do not outweigh its cons. So yeah, that is pretty much my final verdict. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little live gameplay commentary style that I've been trying to make in the last 2 videos. I'm trying new things. I'm trying to get back into commentating because I do not want to be, you know, I do not want to lose this trait that I gained over YouTube. Great site, to be fair and honest. And I actually had a lot of fun making videos again, and I hope you guys did as well. And I'll see you guys on the next video.